Welcome to a very special episode of Mysteries Unknown. In this podcast, I've got Adam with me, and Adam was the very first guest ever on Mysteries Unknown. I'm grateful for him because without him taking a chance with me, this podcast would not be in existence. He came back on the show because he had a couple things he wanted to share. The first interview, he really didn't get a chance to. This is a great one, guys. He had a Class A encounter with Bigfoot when he was just a kid in Arizona. This creature jumped right out in front of him. Pretty scary encounter, and it really changed his life. He's going to be talking about that in just a second. And a side note, the internet connection was really poor during this interview, but you guys don't want to miss it. It is a really, really good interview. But you know what I'm going to say? Thank you guys for being here. Without all the support, I couldn't do this. So thanks so much for being part of this channel. Let's jump right into the show. Adam, welcome back to the show, man.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I'm just grateful that you took a chance to come on the show and share your encounter. I know these are not easy things to talk about, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do that, but I know there was things you didn't get to say in the last interview, so take us back to Arizona 30 years ago and walk us through this encounter.
Oh, yeah, sure. Thanks again. When we talked about it last, I kind of a little bit of rush through it, but this was happened about 30 years ago. It happened, in middle of summertime, June. We're from Gallup, New Mexico, in that area, and Vanderwagen, the Cibola National Forest. So a lot right there. That's where a lot of my aunties and my grandmas, especially who I'm going to be mentioning here in a bit, that's who would take care of us. Very traditional. My grandma's Rose Cowboy and Daisy Cowboy. They had a couple of places where they kept their sheep. We call them sheep camps. They're in their summer camp. They were pretty far away, about 6-7 miles away. They would drive to and from this place just about every day. They drop off my grandma, and she would herd sheep all day. Sometimes we would help her, but in this particular case, we were very young. I think I was about 6, 7. There was, they told stories about this guy, Bigfoot. They would call him Kid. So really wouldn't mention him much, but they would, just tell stories about him. And there were warning signs, not to be outside, or a lot of the cultures out there that I listen to and stuff. It's just more like a learning experience. You gotta be out at times. Certain times it's not good to be outside. Somebody will snatch you. But we were people coming around saying that things were harassing certain other sheep camps and their sheep herds and all that, and sometimes you just think they probably thought it was like coyotes and stuff, but this night my grandma, she sometimes she does go out and check on her livestock. Like I said, usually not that far. Usually they'll wait till the morning, but that this particular time, couldn't leave me behind. So we got up. I remember them telling, "Let's go." Very urgent, and like I said, they weren't gonna leave me home alone. This is the settings like 10 at night. Well, we hopped in their truck. It was an old truck they had, and we started to go down the road. Really think nothing of it. Like I said, it's just another drive with my grandmas. I feel safe with them. They really don't try to, they're not going to scare me for no reason. And like I said, we hopped in the truck. We were driving down, and the area where we saw, this, creature. I like to say it now because, I'm not the only one out there that's seen this. It took a long time for it to kind of sink into my head, but we were driving on the road. This is where right before an area where my parents are from. We were driving down. We went down. We got right halfway down this little valley. The creature hopped right in front of us, and my grandma was driving at the time because I was in the middle, and I had my other grandma on the driver's seat or on the passenger seat. And my grandma, she stopped, and I looked, and and it's like a big, I like to say like a big hairy man, but it was very muscular, very, very, very hunched over, just ready to pounce on something. But it's like we surprised it because it jumped right in front of us. I don't think it was ready for us to see anybody because it looked at us, And I remember it kind of like looked like a whistle, like it blew back at something, or it was um, trying to like warn, I think, others that were behind it, because you know it was like it stared with us for like about 5 minutes, because I remember staring into the eyes and trying to get the. I was looking at the hair. It was kind of like combed back from the head. Like it was like not like really nice, but not dirty. It wasn't like matted or anything that I could remember. And I just remember it looking at us, and um, we looked at it, and my grandma was like, they were staring. I looked at them both. They weren't as scared, and I said, all right, so I shouldn't have been scared. So look back at it, and I just remember it taking the just one leap. It wasn't like it ran off and like tried to like scuffle around. It just like one hop, and it was off the road. And I didn't see it again. I just remember my grandma. She kind of she did put it. I just remember driving again, and went up another mile or two into our sheep camp, and even before we said anything, she stopped the truck, and I'm just a young just a young kid. Just and she turns to me and just tells me as best as she could, don't you don't say anything about this tonight, because people are thinking we're going to be crazy, or it's not good to talk about stuff like this. They just told me don't worry about anything, nothing's going to happen to us. And they checked on their sheep. I remember that we going back, and then we went back to the house, and I just remember they got me ready for bed, and I was like and it just took me a while to process it. I took that secret very like to the heart, to where I didn't really say nothing for a very long time, until I was like a teenager. That's when I started telling my story, because that's when all these Bigfoot stories started coming out, and it was kind of okay to joke around with your friends without getting laughed at or anything, because just didn't want people. And plus, like, I always wanted to make my grandma feel like she can trust me. It was pretty crazy, as as a little kid, just seeing something like that. I seen bears and deer, as a kid. It was nothing even close to that.
Man, it's definitely a life-changing event, and I know that we've talked a lot. And you talk about how it's changed your life, and I talk to a lot of people on the show, and once they have these encounters and the veil's kind of uncovered, they can never go back to being how they were, because it changes everything in your life. And we'll get to some of the details of what you saw, but tell our audience how that affected your life, how it changed your life from that point forward.
Oh yeah, it affected me a lot, because you learn about like God, and just this stuff like that you've been been taught, like just stuff that makes you believe more in stuff, other than because you can go your whole life with not seeing it, and you still believe in it, but it just makes you just want more out of life, because there's something more to believe in. I mean, it's really
That's
hard
a
to
good
put in
answer.
words, because it's really hard to put in words, because I mean, just all the stuff that you hear and people talk about, at a point where you're like, oh, okay, that can't be true, or these other monsters that people talk about. Maybe at one time there was a place that these guys did roam around free, and there's only a few of them left, and and it's pretty cool to at least try seen one. And like I said, I've never tried to go try to find another one, because when you go looking for something like that, it could, like I said, pretty much scare you.
Yeah, man, it's definitely life-changing. And I know that like we said, once you see these kind of creatures, it kind of gets you going down a rabbit hole, and you start looking at the world differently and realizing there's a lot of things in God's universe that maybe we just don't understand and we can't explain. And I love that part of this whole thing is the unknown mystery of it. I know that you talked about the hair and some of those details, but what are some of the other details that you remember? Maybe the eyes or anything like that. What else do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, it had a nose like like us. I just remember, like I said, I was trying to look at the head, and I do remember it being combed back, but there was and it just looked like not a man, but it's still like an ape. But it was very muscular. It was just very had it still had hairy face, but just like right here was still you could still see like a features right here, like the cheeks. It was, but then like I said, that hair caught me just the way it was like nicely, like not combed back, but just like shiny. That's what really caught my eye, how shiny it was, and just how muscular this thing is, and just how much it looked like it just when it pounced off. That's when, like I said, the feet and the hands, like I saw the hands, like just like thumbs, and just reached and like propelled itself. It's just because, like I said, it took about 5 minutes. It was staring at us when it looked back. When I think about it, like I said, I think it was warning something or somebody else, or like they were traveling together. Because, like you said, when I was starting to put pieces back, remembering and just trying to just to remember just minor details. And I always told that to my brother, like, that whistle. I think it was just warning its family. Hold up. There's somebody down here.
Well, that makes sense, man. The more I talk to people in this world, the more I realize, like, if you see one, generally there's another one close by somewhere, and they seem to run in packs, be very family oriented. And I hesitate using that word family, but, there's generally more than one around when you see one. It seems to be in most cases anyways. And it makes you wonder if maybe you just kind of happened to catch this creature off guard. It was crossing the road and maybe that's why it did what it did and maybe warned the rest of them to let them know that there was somebody there. But I always like to ask guests, because I hear about people talking about with these encounters, some of them, not everybody, but there's a sense of fear, they get sick, there's a bad smell, things like that. Did you experience anything like that when you had this encounter?
I don't remember any smell because we were in the truck. We didn't get out. But I do just like I said, my grandmas, they weren't as like, if you said something like that, I would like now I would freak out. You know what I mean? Like as an adult. But they were very calm. And like I said, I had to be calm too. So I wasn't like screaming or anything, but just that eerie feeling, like, oh my gosh, this really did happen. Because it was like I said, once in a lifetime thing, and my grandma's like, they didn't really like I said, showed it off. Like some people be like trying to like get attention, right? Maybe they were more concerned for it too. So, but just in the moment was very just the air was just still. I didn't feel sick or anything. Maybe I don't know about my grandma's. I mean, I wish I could have asked them, but.
Well, man, it's definitely a once in a lifetime moment, and it's kind of cool that you had that memory with your family and was able to experience that in a safe way, and then to have that memory to carry with you and tie you guys together. And it makes you wonder if they knew about it, if they knew it was in the area, because the way they talked about it, the way they reacted, and so it really makes you wonder if they did. But I'm curious to know, man, what are your thoughts on Bigfoot? What do you think it is?
To me, what I was taught, but to me, I believe it's just a creature that very easy, like just something that's like a guardian. That's what I believe, like guardian of the forest, and just if you respect the forest, they'll respect leave you alone. It's there. I've walked through those woods at night too, and just tried to respect as it is. But to me, a guardian of the forest, and something that protects the animals and wildlife as much as it can without getting exposed. But that's just my opinion. There's a lot of other people that may think it's a monster, but to me, I mean, I didn't feel threatened, or like if it was trying to be elusive. very strange moment, but very life changing moment, like you said. Just this is it's helping me a lot. I can talk about it more easily, and you made me help get some more details. Like I said, the whistling and the hair, the feet, where it was at. It was pretty close. As I say, if I can remember, at least 15 yards. So I got a good look at it. It was still dark. If it wasn't for the lights, like like I said, it was. I mean, maybe it was bigger because I was small, but to me, it was half the size of that road, and that road's pretty big.
Man, I'm glad you guys made it through that night okay, and you have that memory. It's a life-shaping event. It's something you'll never forget, and it'll stay with you for the rest of your life. It's a great opinion, and I had a guest on the show probably, I don't know, it's been about a month or so ago, from Alberta, Canada, and he had this experience where he was surrounded by a pack of wolves, and this Bigfoot creature came out of the woods and saved him, and then it paced him out because he had a long ways to go. And I could see how that would fit into that narrative and why people would think that way about Bigfoot. And that makes sense. There's a lot of things in God's universe we don't understand. But with all that being said, and I think I know the answer to this question, but if you had the opportunity to see Bigfoot again, would you want to?
Yeah, right now, like maybe just stare at it just a little longer, just to make sure I wasn't, not going crazy, but just more details to give, and just, I wouldn't want to record it just for my memory and only, but I would just see it again. And just to add on, right there where this happened and where my parents live, like there's a lot of like elk crossings and deer crossings. So there's a lot of habitat, ponds, just stuff like that elk and stuff can, they just roam around right there, and it's a good crossing. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like them walking through this area where like the Zuni area. There's very wooded, very dense wood out here. So
sounds like you're in the perfect area for it, man. Perfect place for it to live, and you never know, you might come across it again. And I'm just glad you were safe and had that encounter, had a good encounter, and had that memory. And man, you were my very first guest. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing that. I know my audience really thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm honored that you chose this channel to share your experience. So I appreciate you, man, and thanks for sharing that with my audience.
Thank you again, and anytime. And like I said, if I ever see him again, and I'll let you know and talk about it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Let me know, man. If you do, we'll definitely have you back on. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you being part of this podcast. Without you, it wouldn't be possible. I really do appreciate the support, and you guys really do matter to me. So thanks for all you do. I got some more cool stuff coming down the pipeline, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And like I always say, stay prayed up. We'll talk soon.